Because my line itself is pretty long. So just don't doze off when my slides come on. Okay. So the statement that she said was a little different on what it is here. And the statement, I think, on the website is non-ERP cases. So I'll just clarify. It's not non-ERP cases. It's just non-traditional ERP cases. An ERP is about sales, purchase, inventory. So what I'm going to show here is some projects, not products. They're not worthy of products right now. Some projects that we tried doing. Why here? So I had this slide, but I think everyone stole my thunder, and they have already declared how wonderful Frappe is. I'm not going to go deep into it. It's just simple. Frappe is great. For an organization like ours, who just started probably a year back, I'll try and explain what kind of projects we are doing, and you can imagine what people who are already pro at web applications development. So as an organization, we have never been web application development organization. The team itself was young, and yet a lot of things have been achieved over the period. So I have about 4 projects lined up, and most of them are here because we have Frappe. That's pretty plain and simple. Right? We had a discussion, or we had a topic on Frappe Insights a little while back, and you talked about how Frappe Insight is going to be a product which is going to give you data analysis. Right? So, sorry about my slides, they're very noisy, just because I just wanted to tell too much in too little time, and I just have 15 minutes. So just bear with me, hear me out. I'm sure you'll get what my context is. Frappe Insight is supposedly something that is going to give you data analytics, but for a business, data is broken into 3 parts. It's about what has happened, what is going to happen, and what might happen, right? Frappe Insights tells you what has happened. Top 10 products, top 10 customers. What did you sell last month? What did you sell last year? But what about predicting what will you sell next month? What about predicting how much is your stock going to be in the next 3 months? How much are you going to pay for your warehouse costing in maybe 4-month time? Are you ready for the next event that is coming up? Will you be able to purchase enough inventory to sell in the coming holiday seasons? So that's what an ERP should be doing, because an ERP automates your operations, but decision making is something that's still not there yet. So what we tried to do was break the whole data system into 3 parts: historic, predictive, prescriptive. Historic, what has happened; predictive, what might happen; prescriptive, if you do this, something will happen. Maybe increase the price by a couple of rupees, and will the sale increase? Or decrease the price by a couple of rupees, will it actually lead to good profits? So that's what we try to do. We have been, so again, my slides are noisy, but I'll just show you. What we have been trying to do is, in the historic side, this is your top 10s, what has been sold, what was the best selling. But then you should be able to predict as to whether you're going to sell the same in the next month. What if the last year, same time, there was an event and you had a promotion and your sales spiked up? It's going to spike up again, most probably. So will you be prepared for that? So the forecasting engine gives you an insight into the next coming months, weeks, or probably, if the engine is good enough, maybe a quarter. Right? So this is the historic perspective and the predictive perspective. We have tried working with a lot of models, and we had very good, I won't say customers, we talked to a couple of companies and they gave us their data on a voluntary basis. We tried running models on those voluntary data sets. Some data sets were 3 years old, some data sets were 2 years, and we tried tuning how a model should look like. Unfortunately, the problem with data modeling is that there's no one correct answer. You have to tune the model to get the correct answer. So what we are going to do in this particular project is try and give you a doc type in which you will tune some parameters so as to get a prediction. And the prediction will have its own error correction. It might be off by 10%, might be off by 20%, but the aim is for CIOs and CXOs, you should be able to predict what's going to happen next week with a certain degree of confirmation or certain degree of correctness. Right? So this tool, we are going to present, we are actually preparing a research paper and going to publish in IEEE in the coming January or February timeframe. So it's purely based on Frappe. Unfortunately, we have to use fast API a little bit because Frappe tends to get edgy if I try to integrate ML-based TensorFlow-like packages, but we'll get there. End of the day, This will come out as open source for sure next. So that's one project. Another that we came across with was a pharmaceutical company that came up and said that I have 4,000 bombs, 5,000 bombs. Every chemical is same. The paracetamol is paracetamol. It's going to have the same combination if it's a 300 milligram or 600 milligram tablet. But when my customer comes to me, or the lead actually, not a customer, they tell me, okay, I need paracetamol, but I need it in a blister pack, in packs of 10, packed into boxes of 20, packed into cartons of 25, give me a quotation. They don't wait for you. They're not going to say, all right, you prepare your bomb, you prepare your pricing, and come back to me after, say, 2 days to give me a quotation. No. So this pricing tool, what it does is, it's pretty simplistic. It essentially gives you a single page doc type, a singleton doc type. You can select an item, select some, it's very small, so sorry for that, it's like too much of it. You just create a pricing form, select an item that you would like to sell to your lead, select all the bombs which are connected to that item, tune the bombs. You might have to add more items to it. You might add a double foil, or for FMCG sector, you might add maybe 2 more packagings of the same thing. You add a markup to it, 2%, 3% extra, labor cost extra, freight extra, and you arrive at a pricing. That pricing can be for bulk, so you have to worry about UOMs also. The customer might be asking in boxes, your bombs might be in blisters. The customer might be asking in drums, your would be in bottles. So how do you compare that? So based on UOMs, take the item, take the bombs, put a markup, create a price, create a quotation. So this is what this tool does. It's there, it's just too buggy right now to give you guys, but probably in a week or so, we might be putting it out in the open source thing. And it works purely on Frappe. There is no customization. It's a separate module altogether. It just needs bombs to work with. Right? We are trying to do more things. For example, arriving at a pricing based on the price list. So one of the key problems that one of the customers came up and said that, I know you guys can find valuation of items, and the valuation could be converted into a price based on pricing rule and pricing lists. That's okay. All is happy. But that's not how my world works. There's no simple mathematics that says if something was costing you 10 rupees, just put a 5% markup and make it maybe like 10.5. That's not how they work. They work in methods that they'll create a quotation, but they would like to know what the quotation was created out of in terms of individual items that were constituted to create the pricing, not the quotation. And you don't put on quotation every constituent that you are going to sell. You put on quotation one single line item saying, I'm selling this. That is made up of 10 bombs. Every bomb was configured or reconfigured with multiple percentages. So that's what this tool is going to give. It's going to link between the price generated and the quotation and keep it ever for history so that you can refer back, how did I arrive here? There's another project that we have been working on is, I know it sounds very cocky to be gamification, but it actually is. So ERPNext has transactions. You have sales, purchase, you know what was sold, when was it sold, how much was it sold for. Might as well take this for the last year's sale, convert into this year's targets. That's how pretty much every company does, right? You say that I had a sale of $1 million last year, I'll be selling, let's say, 10% of it. But 10% of what? To whom? 10% spread across multiple item groups, but not equitably. Not all your items are sold equitably. Some items would be sold more, some items would be sold less. So let's start with very simplistic aim. You have gross sales from last year, and you say, I would like to be at 10% point this year. Take that 10%, distribute it over the monthly organization target. Which month, how much should I achieve? Simple maths, there's no magic here. But the only thing that differs is, there it was organization target for the whole year. Here we get the targets for every month, put the X percentage, allow you to modify it, create the monthly targets. Straight. Then we do the same thing for item groups. You have lots of item groups. They were sold across the whole year in different sets. Some item groups might be very heavily sold in the holiday season. Some might not be sold. Distribute a whole structure into what will be sold in which month. So it's item group versus month matrix and what will be sold. The same you do for customer targets. You can do that for sales team targets. It's straightforward. So once the targets are set, what do you do next? You put them up, okay, this is the target string. You put them up on a web UI, tell your sales team, this month, you have to achieve this, and to achieve this, you have to sell this. To sell this, you have to go to these customers. Because the customer target, the item group targets, and the whole organization target, the team targets are right there in front of you. Every morning they wake up, they know what to sell, or what are they not selling right now. So again, this whole thing was purely based on, so even though I have put Flutter-based things, it's just because we are not very good with UI. I know you guys had an amazing session, the UI is so amazing, so easy to build. We are not there yet. So this came easy for us, but all of this can be directly built into Frappe itself. You create the sales versus target, you distribute the targets over various groups, let the groups achieve the target on the basis of their own segregations. And once that is done, the whole sales team has a very clear idea, month on month, quarter on quarter, or even fortnight on fortnight, what are they or they are not achieving. So that's how it works. Right. We have this ready. I mean, the Flutter thing is ready, but we are trying to work with the non-Flutter, the UI direct disk, so that anyone can use it without installation of a separate application. There are other things that we can do on this. I mean, if the targets are set, might as well try and find a day plan. Where you have to go, at what time do you have to go, show me on the map, just simply go there, check in, that is standard employee check-in, and get a plan back to the manager at the end of the day. Did my sales team do what I planned to do? So we can extend it into multiple phases there. Another product that we were working on was, so if you have a batch, and ERP Next has batches and serial numbers, one thing that comes naturally is look at the batch, go to the stock ledger, and trace reverse. When did I purchase the raw material associated with this batch? And when will I sell it? Or who did I sell to? Which document was it connected to? Just very simple. This is very, very easy, and there is no contest there as to what the problem is. And this is very good for quality teams, wherein you would like to trace a issue that has come in. There was, let's say, staple pins in my coriander bag. Now find where the coriander came from, which batch was it manufactured from, should be done. The only problem is ERP Next is targeted for small and medium enterprises. The core users, they're not really tech savvy, I would say. They don't know what stock ledger is. They don't know that in stock ledger there are like 10 lines. You have to go on each line, open up multiple stock entry documents. From the stock entry documents, go into the purchase order documents, in the purchase, go to purchase receipt, and then come back to sales invoices. And I'm sure with so much talk that I have done, even you got lost. That's how it happens with every purchase team, at least in small and medium enterprises. They cannot jump to screens and screens to analyze what the problem really was. What if I give you a screen, and the layout right now has changed. I mean, this is an old screen I had. I did not have an updated screen. You just select the item code, the batch number, the the serial number, and a tree comes up. And the tree has on top the batch itself. You click on the tree, the purchase orders and the sales order come up, and the stock entries come up. You click on them, their individual PRs or the DNs, delivery notes, or the stock entries come up. And keep clicking till you reach the root of it. And that tree is what the single view that the product team, the quality engineering team, or actually not every business calls it a quality engineering team, it's essentially the purchase team itself who goes out and finds what the issue was. What the purchase team can do, they can simply go to this tool, find out where the issue happened in a single shot. Now all this again uses standard ERP, POs, SOs, SIs, PRs, and DNs. No other extraordinary document are used. Just a single page which is recursively moving over the entries to get you a preview. Right? So that's one project we're working on. Okay, so there's a mistake here. It's not IaaS, it's an IPaaS, or Integration Platform as a Service. So I'm not purporting that we are building an iPaaS. I'm just saying that we were like very tiny. If you know about Dell's Bhumi or MuleSoft or Zapier, which is a very, very popular integration platform, business do not work with a single ERP. They work with multiple softwares at any given point of time. Right? They might be Shopify. They might be Drupal, headends. They will be, a company might have multiple companies, sub-companies. Okay, I lost it, but I'll just continue. So they're like any organization can have multiple organizations. One can be the selling side, one can be the buying side. Right? What if A purchase order in one organization becomes a sales order in another organization. That's natural. I mean, specifically in the FMCG sector, this is how it happens, right? You have distributors and sub-distributors, and every distributor becomes a company, and the sales on the top level are actually purchases on the bottom level. Right? That's one intention. Of course, I think ERPNext already has a method wherein you can push doc types from one into another ERP. I mean, with the standard fields, you can map and simply push. Take it next level. What about Shopify? You have orders in Shopify, create an event, it should flow into an ERP, or maybe just emails. We went ahead with this tool and created a Google chatbot. You type /ERP, task, the task ID, and your tasks pop up on the chat itself. Who stops me from going /ERP, /PO, the PO ID, and PO comes up. /ERP, last 10 POs as a command, and last 10 POs come up. So essentially, we started with a conversational ERP as an idea, and we came up with this small engine which takes care of routing of requests from one edge to another edge. The edges can be ERPNext, Shopify, NetSuite, Google Mail, GChat, maybe AWS Lambdas, anything. You just define a source point and a routing or destination point, and this system will help you move the request from one edge to another edge and also log it for you. We log it for maybe monetization purposes. How many transactions did we cross in the whole day between two integration engines? So again, why this? When we took up Frappe, we had to build this. We are not web guys. What do you do when you're not web guys? You essentially go out and solve your problem, and because Frappe was there, all we did was create simple doc types saying sources and destinations. And between the sources and destination, we created Lambda functions. That is Google, you can call it Google Cloud Functions or AWS Lambdas or something else is called in Microsoft Azure. And those edges feed into Google ERPNext to get their source and destination and the logging system itself. So it's very simple. It's nothing extraordinary, but we found a lot of organizations working in this kind of model. They don't have one ERP. They have 2, 3, 4, and because ERPNext is open source, I don't have to pay a licensing fee every time. They tend to deploy multiple instances for the same business, and they would like to integrate between the businesses itself. So this is what we try to do, and I think more or less we got there. Again, it has nothing to do with ERP itself. It's more of an integration bridge, and no. It's actually called iPaaS in technical terms, in cloud terms, all these SaaS, AS, PaaS. But it's a very tiny iPaaS that we created. We are also working on a couple of other projects. For example, we came up with a problem statement for data engine. You don't have transactions, not so many transactions. How do you work with this? So essentially, we are building a transaction generator, which can create dummy transactions on the sales or the purchase side so that we can build products and test the products on those dummy transactions. Unfortunately, because we are building them, we can't use it in our data analytics system. It's biased data, but we can use it for many other things. For example, traceability. So we have to have a data generation system in which it automatically creates transactions. We have a mobile application. We are also not working with mobile application directly in the Frappe thing. You have an employee check-in form. Just open that up, have a Google map, have a selfie there, and push it into ERPNext as a check-in, and then put a geofencing based on departments. You go to the departments, say where this is headquartered, and when the employee checks in, he or she gets a, I would say, warning. You're not within the department range, maybe like 50 meters or 100 meters outside. Again, we just simply created Google, ERPNext doc types, Frappe doc types, put some fields, and put some backend logic so as to verify a check-in against a geolocation. It was pretty straightforward for us. We have an IoT device also, which is essentially for industrials, capture temperature, humidity, what a moving vehicle, and then feed all this data into ERPNext to create reports, data analytical reports as to how an organization is performing vis-a-vis their assets, people, machinery, and the sales and purchase transaction itself. So when that picture completes, that is when an organization says, yes, I can transparently see what is happening in the organization. Right? So yeah, we are majorly working on that. Finally, who I am Shreyansh, and I'm part of Ambibuzz Technologies. It's a very early stage startup. Right now, we're trying to find where we are. I call myself an architect, but yeah, I get the freedom of naming anything to myself. So, and last thing, we are going to make everything open source, all of it. Whatever we have said is going to be open source. It's just that we haven't yet figured out the documentation required. So once we do it, we'll be there.